Welcome back, everyone. My name is Brittany Simon. We do philosophy through pop culture. This is Ultimatum, Queer Ultimatum, Season 2, Episode 7. Let's see what happens.
And that first week, I was in a very dark place, probably one of the darkest I've ever been. I felt very scared for my own future. I felt very conflicted at who I was and what my purpose was. And ultimately, you knew the moment to give me space. You knew the moment when you could make a joke, and it slowly became a safe space.
Another thing that I loved is you absolutely give, and you're so selfless in that. And that energy will attract the right person if this person's not in this room.
So the girls are together to switch back to their original partners. This is AJ and Marie. And basically, Marie's really angry, which I understand is really, well, it makes sense given the situation. But at the same time, she softens at the end when talking about AJ and the way that she feels like she's really come into her own. AJ also had very nice things to say about Marie, which I'm not surprised about. They also made it clear that it's a friendship and not a relationship, which I think is important.
Our trial marriage has been really easy. Not to say that there hasn't been a lot of really hard work. We would get really serious. Sometimes we would cry, but then we would pop back in with a joke, and you're so good at changing the mood like that, but then also coming back and still checking in.
I think for years, I've had questions about why I do the things I do and why do I feel so lost. I don't want to compare Haley and Dana, but being with you, I discovered how to push myself and how to trust my instincts and believe that all the weird, quirky things about myself, those are damn good qualities.
I just want to remind us of how dependent Megan was at the very beginning of the show. She was fragile, like a dog that had been kicked down. I mean, she was so desperate for Dana to pick her, to leave this place together. And now, the Megan I see now, she is different. She is more confident. And it just, it makes you just put things into perspective. Just remembering that Megan compared to this one. It's an insane difference. It really is.
I'll definitely miss the laughs. We've truly had the best time. We've been ridiculous at all times.
I love that you get all my references of my joking.
Now, I don't know if Netflix is doing this on purpose, but they keep showing Dana and she's making all these facial expressions and everything. And I will say, not that it matters too much, but I do think it's important that you match in terms of aesthetic. And Dana's aesthetic has nothing to do with Megan's, and Megan's has nothing to do with Dana's. Like, they're not even complementary in the way that they style themselves. And again, obviously, you don't have to have the same style as your partner, but there's something about cohesion that I look for in couples, not matchy-matchy, but vibey. And it's so off. It's so off. But Dana's making all these facial expressions and they keep zooming in on her face. And I just don't know how much of it is the edit and how much of it is actually just Dana being, I get it. I make facial expressions all the time. It's coming off immature and combative versus like considering and listening. So
you riff my bit.
One thing I'm gonna do is rip your bit.
Oh, Lord.
Rip my bit.
They're so goofy. They're just like so goofy together. And I do love how much they laugh together. I think that's so important to be like loving and goofy with your partner, and just like they have that so clearly to me that it makes me feel safer about their dynamic. It makes me trust the dynamic more because it is easy. It's easy to laugh, easy to be happy, easy to make a joke, right? There's no punishment for being silly.
I'm happy with the relationship that I came in here with, but I am so proud of the work that I've done on myself.
It makes me want to really prioritize getting my family on board with my life.
It's time to move on to Dana and Mel.
I can't speak right now. I need you to go. My trial marriage with Dana has been very life-changing. You are really, really special to me.
So already Dana says, I can't speak right now. And then Mel goes, I got you. It's like, there's something about, see the difference? Not, again, I don't want to compare it in a cruel way, just to learn for our own sake. The difference between, Mel and Haley, or not Mel and Haley, oh my God. The difference between Megan and Haley, like joyful and light and serious, but joyful. And then they switch to Mel and Dana, and it's just like, but the reason it's so interesting is because Mel and Dana made the decision at the beginning to isolate themselves and to ignore their partners. And Megan and Haley hadn't decided to do that. Basically, Megan was open-minded to making contact with Dana by the pool and saying hi, and Dana ignored her. And so it's interesting that they set the precedent for kind of rejecting people and then are mad that at the end they're having this relationship with everyone. But there's like an unhealed negative vibe to them in comparison to everybody else. It's very interesting.
I think this is the first time that anybody's truly ever seen me fully and hasn't run away or gotten scared of those things.
We have reached a extreme level of vulnerability and comfort that I don't know that a lot of people can reach with somebody. I think it's a very scary level. We both are more controlled in our emotions, and we're used to very emotional partners.
I highly doubt that. I mean, maybe. Actually, wait, pause. You know what's interesting is I do believe Megan was more emotional in that relationship because she was being toxically, like, possibly abused. Because I bet Dana did feel like Megan was more emotional, but I think Megan was only that way because she was in a bad relationship with Dana. I've seen that happen where the more toxic partner takes credit for being the less emotional partner, but the more emotional partner is literally being abused. So that's sort of interesting. And like the fact that Mel thinks Marie is more emotional when Mel is literally so shut down. Just because you shut down doesn't mean you're not emotional. Shutting down is like a reaction of safety. Like, it's interesting that they see themselves as less emotional when I see them as more reactive, more emotional. But from their perspective, I could see how they could twist it. That's so interesting.
Sometimes I don't always feel like there's space for me to be emotional, or maybe I won't be as supported. You've kind of helped me realize being vulnerable isn't like a weakness. With Megan, I don't feel always like comfortable or safe saying what I want to say or being who I am. I feel judged. I struggle to communicate with Megan. I think me and Mel just have it so easy because we just get each other.
Okay, go get married then. Yo, the way they're going in. So Mel is, you know what I mean? They're like moving it in. They're like talking too much, or maybe it's just the edit.
Anything, you deserve the best, even like marriage. It's not that you don't want it. You're too scared to have these amazing things because you don't want to lose them. I just wish you could see yourself the way that other people saw you. The way that you have just taken care of me. I'll never forget it. I can't imagine not knowing you now.
In the first week, when I had run into you, you did not even acknowledge me.
I wanted to like let you be on your own.
You couldn't even tell me hi. We came in this together, and I think a simple hi would have sufficed. I didn't understand it. So instead of taking the time to understand why I'm not getting that reaction like out of my partner, I just decided to create space. And all of a sudden I'm breaking up with you. I don't want to go home with you. I can't marry you. I'm leaving the show.
So you ignored that, and you said, go home.
You said have a safe flight.
Hold on, first of all.
So, okay, we're getting a third confirmation that Megan was not the one. It was Dana, who was basically, so Dana is the kind of toxic partner from my observation of the edit, who basically makes Megan reactive. And when Megan doesn't give her what she wants, she threatens her, basically with breaking up. And then when Megan finally says, fine, go, she's like, I can't believe you would let me break up with you. Whoa, bro.
Exes told you they're going home. Would you tell them to have a safe flight?
You know why?
I think the confusion is just you came to the folks' night.
Yes, bye, girl. Yes, I would. Bye.
Acting like Megan had done something crazy.
She
You
did.
trash talked me the whole night.
Every time Megan came crying to me, I fucking was there. I've never let
when
you
were
down.
you there?
What do you mean, Megan?
When were you there?
What do you came to my room
Here's the
before
difference.
decision day.
Okay, when I need you, I tell you I need you. When you need me, you break up with me. You tell me you're gonna go home. You tell me you're gonna do all these things.
That's true. See, that first day when Megan goes up to her on decision day and she cries, she says, I need you. This is my boundary. This is my concern. Dana doesn't do that. Dana threatens, which is why Megan's the more emotional partner, because they activate Megan. And then when Megan reacts, they go, see, you're so emotional.
So
Megan,
how am
I
I
called
supposed
you
to
and
know?
told you I was, like,
I'm not done
literally-
talking. I'm not done talking.
I don't understand how you can say you didn't know I needed you. Have I ever called you crying hysterically like that, telling you that I'm gonna lose my mind, like I don't want to be here anymore? Have I ever said that to you ever? Have you even heard me cry like that before? When do I ever emotionally? And I told you I fucking need you if you fucking.
See, so they even though to me, not being vulnerable, years of dating, not crying in front of your partner, like that's all in my mind, like emotional dysregulation in the opposite way. It's like avoidant personality. And so they think it's like less emotional, but it's just as emotionally reactive as like being angry. It just is inward instead of outward. But the fact that you're telling me in this relationship with Megan, in which you wanted to marry her, you have never been vulnerable with her, but you asked somebody to marry. So you asked someone to marry you who you don't even feel good being vulnerable with. Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what Dana's saying? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense.
Are
You
not right now,
fucked
that's
around
it.
on this trip.
Oh.
I cannot be there for you. I'm sorry.
Where's the proof? And then your little friend here.
My little
rolled
friend
with that
here?
too.
My little friend here?
Yes.
Let me tell you something.
Haley,
The
you
only-
went up
first
to
of all-
Marie
first of all-
and told Marie that
first
you
of
have
all-
proof
first of all-
that me and Mel are fucking. Please
I
give
did
me
not
the
say
proof
that.
now. You didn't?
Before we get
Marie?
there,
I don't care. So anyway.
Back to the receipts.
So that's where I can definitely clarify, and I think I left things too vague with you. I heard out what Dana was having to say about her experience and how it, made her feel some kind of way. I wanted to clarify with Marie that seemed very suspicious to me. Definitely something more to the story that I'm not understanding.
Hold on. Now Haley is acting like she doesn't have receipts, but I believe she used the word receipts in the bar.
Hold on now, because I was told there are receipts. I think exactly what happened is that I called your ass out at the cocktail party. That shit.
What did you call my ass out
That
for?
shit made you feel some type of way.
What did you call my ass out for?
You do like some like get back on me. I was not trying to hurt
She
her.
was
I
trying
was
to make me aware
I wanted a fake ass story.
regardless.
Of a fake ass story.
I'm just saying, why get so
You
defensive?
did that shit for your own fucking benefit. I'm sorry. I don't care.
Bro,
Were we just talking about
Somebody asked them point blank, did you fuck, yes or no?
growth from everybody right now?
Look, on your behalf, if it's nothing, then there's nothing to get defensive about.
Because don't ever, for one, don't ever speak on me when you don't know shit. Two, you should have fucking had my back. Because every
I
rumor
should've had
that's
your
came to
back.
me,
I should've
I
had your
shut
back.
that shit down.
Dana,
Every rumor that is came to me,
your
I shut it down
tone
for
is
you.
ridiculous. Like, talk to people like they fucking matter.
Ooh. Brittany said, talk to people like they fucking matter. See, Dana and Mel, they just have like a trashiness to them. I don't know what word to use. It's just like, it's very unhealed. It's very like, everyone else is so like warm and like beautiful in the way they articulate their feelings. And then Mel and Dana show up and it's just like the room takes a dive.
Apparently, I don't matter. Why
No
does
one's,
everyone
no
talk
one's
about
saying
me?
that to you.
You're cutting everybody off. You're
just
not letting
be
anybody
relaxed.
talk.
Like,
Calm
take a
down.
deep breath.
Cool.
No one's coming at you. We're just trying to understand what the fuck's going on.
I don't know if this is a sign. Haley and I were sitting in our bedroom, and all of a sudden, the TV turns on. It logs in on both of your accounts.
Oh,
And it's so strange.
It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my
Because
life.
we tried to connect our phones, and you needed an approval. Both of your accounts opened up. All there's been was sex playlists.
Oh.
You have one private playlist that you guys created together.
what? What?
And on your account, you opened the album that you made for me. And you took all of the songs that you created for me, including our song together. And you put that on your playlist together.
What in the technology?
And I don't appreciate that at all.
heard.
Okay, babe.
Understood.
Okay, so they that's true. That happened. Like they're okay, so they're admitting that's true.
I know tonight has been incredibly emotional.
I still don't believe that they didn't do it. I'm still not convinced by that conversation that they didn't do it.
What the hell was tonight? Crazy. A bunch of children screaming at each other is what I was thinking.
You haven't seen me in 3 weeks and you can't even look at me?
You chose to go about your 3 weeks in the way you did, so don't be mad when I feel the way that I feel about that.
Yeah, Dana being like, oh my God, you can't even look at me right now. Listen, I get it. Like, it's silly, but like, I'd be kind of upset to be in Dana's, like, I would want to be in Dana's space for 3 weeks after that. You know what I mean? It must be very uncomfortable for Megan. But Dana be like, oh my God, you can't even look at me. It's like she's making every unhealthy bid for affection. And that's what I see in a lot of these shows is unhealthy bids for affection. Yeah.
Megan and Dana's business is their own bone to pick, but you know what the proof probably fucking was? That Spotify bullshit. A locked playlist, Mel? Really?
Yeah. Honestly, like that's pretty interesting decision to make a little sex playlist. So, I mean, I think that counts as some form of receipt.
I just thought it was interesting also that Megan was like pointing fingers at Dana when it's like, I don't know, are you guys doing anything?
We have, yeah.
That's for Haley and Pilar to decide, but Megan, in her mind, her relationship with Dana was done. So she's a free agent to be sexual.
We can talk about it.
Oh, so Haley just said, yeah, like we did do stuff. So there you go.
You're not looking at me.
Sorry.
Just makes me feel like something sketchy.
No, I'm trying to like say it. We did go out one night and then there was like a kiss.
How did it just happen? What do you mean?
I don't want this to like be a block for us, so I want to.
You have to tell me.
I know. I want to like work through it.
Okay, so interesting that Kyle's trying to explain the kiss that happened with Pilar. And she's like, how did it just happen, Bridget? But I wonder if Kyle's going to add in the uncomfortable conversation, the consent violation. Like, I wonder how that conversation is going to be had.
The oxtail that hurt. Bro, you could have made her jerk chicken.
AJ and Brittany are already so back in it. They're so funny. Look at them. They're so funny. They're so comfortable. Look, they're already back in it. It's like they're making jokes. They're like, really, oxtail? You couldn't have made her jerk chicken? That's so funny. Like that. Okay, that's like a relief after everyone else being so tense.
All them fucking good ass flavored oxtails in her stomach. What the fuck?
That's cute. They're like cuddling and like they're into. So it's just kind of gives you an idea of like how different people handle the same situation.
No, what is an oxtail? What the hell is
It's a literal tale. When I was going on my vegan or plant-based journey, I watched a woman cook oxtail, and I swear to God, I never actually processed it was the tail of the animal. And this cute little tail, she had this cute little tail with its fur on, and she cleaned the oxtail, and then she cut it into pieces. And I was like, my whole life, I've been eating the tail of this cute animal.
We do have a connection that you've known, and we've teetered the line of could it be, could it not, and we never went there because we love our personal soulmate.
What do you mean you never went there, Mel? You literally went there. You went beyond there. You have tattoos. You have matching tattoos. See the deception.
You teetered the line. Okay, as long as you know where I'm going with that.
We came here together in hopes to get engaged after all this.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I bet you fucking are sorry. You're not sorry for shit. You're sorry because this is backfiring in your face. You think that you can treat people however you want, and then when you're not treated the way you want, then you want to play the sympathy card?
That's really what you think?
That's exactly what I
That's what I think too. I think that too. Yeah.
think. It's exactly what I know. It's exactly what you've shown me this whole time we've been here.
Why are you staying then?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Probably because you get tempted to be with a crowd of people, to keep connecting with the people, to go through the experiment. I mean, you're never going to have this opportunity again. And so you almost are tempted just to finish it out, to see what happens at the end. The question is what's going to happen at the reunion? That's what the real question is.
You're done. We don't have a future.
I really don't think so.
Be done, Megan. Be done. Please, Lord, be done.
A 4-leaf clover. Are you matching? Are you fucking kidding? You got a matching tattoo.
I did, yes.
My God. She's really gonna be a part of my life forever now, isn't she?
Why is Mel laugh? Mel has like a smile in her voice, and Marie is way too calm for me. Or she's way too relaxed for me.
Dana and I have a very strong bond emotionally, but I think like the best thing for me to do right now is really try to give my everything to Marie, the person who's been here for me for 4 years.
Very disappointed in Haley. I know that you and Dana are not the bad guys, and I believe you and I trust you.
Okay, Marie is, I'm going to say siding with Mel just to, she's basically saying, I'm disappointed in Haley. She's saying, I know you and Dana aren't the bad guys, and I believe you. I still don't believe them, but let's see. Let's see if the edit just worked out that way. I mean, I feel like I should just go back because there was 2 scenes with people making humping noises. And I swear one of the scenes was with Mel and Dana because that was the edit I made. And then I made one with Megan and Haley. So that's why I'm like confused, but see how I'm like, my mind is tricking itself to thinking maybe I misunderstood. But then none of you corrected me in the comment sections, and don't spoil it for future episodes, which implies to me that I wasn't wrong and they were. And that's the whole point, is that we're being taken for an emotional roller coaster. We're gonna, you know what I'm saying? And then this is really a devastating thing I'm watching. I feel like I'm watching a devastating thing unfold.
Excited to see how you've, I want to say, grown in this experience. We sometimes lack passion because, we're always working. I did mean what I said about being seen and heard. I think that is a non-negotiable for me. Sometimes when I speak, I feel like you kind of, yeah.
You've said this before.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean to disregard you.
Okay, so Marie is admitting to some neglect about Mel and not listening to her and kind of like ignoring her opinions. And Marie said, a lot of M names. Marie did say, like, you've said this before. So that's good that Marie is acknowledging in ways she's neglected Mel. And hopefully that allows them to figure some stuff out during this trial marriage.
And Dana tonight was talking about your self-worth. I see that. I get that. You are worth so much. You are worthy of all of the love. And it really kills me that we went 4 years and you don't feel worthy.
I think it's always going to be difficult for me personally because I feel like I've been in a toxic era of my life. So that's all I can compare it to. And I know I wasn't as toxic as other people. And I know I wasn't as healed as other people in my age group in my 20s. But it's like under no circumstance during any of my toxic years did I get matching tattoos with people or seek revenge on my partner or cheat or engage in anything that could be, in my mind, threatening to my relationship. I felt like the toxicity came in many ways from how stubborn I was in insisting that my relationship would get better. Like my family and friends always telling me like, break up, you're in a bad relationship. But my brain is like, we can fix it, which is a form of toxicity, right? Like a toxic cycle of believing things will change when the evidence is to the contrary. But I can't imagine that Mel loves Marie or really wants her relationship to work and then she goes and gets tattoos done. Like, I don't understand how you can cheat in your relationship and think you're going to fix the relationship. Like, even if you're wounded, even if it's toxic, even if you're neglected, how is adding to the destruction of the relationship helping it? And that's what it feels like happened with Dana and Mel. It felt like they chose every possible option to chip away at their original relationships. And then they're like, we really wanted our relationships, but they never picked us. Well, given the opportunity, you know what I'm saying? And again, for Megan, it's different. She was done with Dana, so she moved on to Hallie. And Hallie choosing to be with Megan, that's a whole other conversation. But I can't fault her in a sense because I think that I don't know why Haley did that. I guess compared to Pilar, who kissed Kyle. Yeah, I'm not sure what their situation's gonna be. In the car just now, when they showed that that scene, not flashback, but that scene, and Pilar was like, "Oh, what if Megan and you were physical?" And Haley goes, "Yeah, we were. We'll talk about it." She seemed almost nonchalant, and I wonder if Pilar had given her permission. Maybe, I don't know. I'm confused. I think at that. But going back to Mel and Dana, it feels like they made every decision to make it so much harder for them to come back to their original partners, which says to me, why are you playing victim in the relationship? I feel like I know what I'm trying to say, but does that make sense?
Hurts me so deeply to my core that you say you have never felt seen.
Yeah, that's really sad. I don't think you can be with someone for 4 years, never feel seen, and then you're gonna somehow fix that. I think if after even a year you don't feel seen, I think even after 6 months, like if you don't feel seen, it's like you're trying to force somebody to understand you. And I don't think you can do that, which is why I think most relationships are settling. I think most people settle into relationships where they don't feel seen. I've done it myself, and you just think, yeah, but I feel seen a little bit. I feel seen here, but I don't feel seen here. Even if they say you a little bit, it's not enough to build a whole relationship off of.
I can see it. Like this connection that you guys have. All I can do is take it in now, but I am very scared of what this looks like.
Marie is so calm and warm and comforting, and she's saying, I can see the connection between you and Dana. It's interesting how she's so patient here. She was so angry before, but she's not angry now.
I can't even believe who you are. You didn't tell me it was a matching tattoo until I asked. And do you realize how much there is to unpack still? Really? We said that if we made it out of here together, we would get matching tattoos. You would get matching tattoos with Mel? You always say we're gonna do something that we don't. I can't believe I wanted to marry you.
Coming from a West Asian background, this might sound like yelling to most people, but I actually think Megan is just being passionate. I don't think she's yelling yet because she's just like expressing her own feelings. I'm a very loud person. I express very her sister was a witch energy in my conversations. Also, as an neurodivergent person, people think I'm angry when I'm not angry. When I'm angry, I'm more like Marie. You know how Marie's angry? That's my angry. Like, my angry is quiet. My angry is usually it's not, when I'm being passionate, I'm usually just really interested in a topic. So I think Megan is mad, but I think she's mad because she feels like a fool. Not because she's necessarily mad at Dana. Maybe. This is from the edit so far. And I think she's right to be angry. You got matching tattoos? Why would you get matching tattoos? I can't believe how stupid I've been. I'm so stupid. I can't believe I thought you loved me. It's I'm angry at myself for thinking, oh my God, that kind of energy. But the fact that Megan and Dana had a pact after this, if they leave together, they were going to get matching tattoos. And then she goes and gets it with Mel. That's what I'm saying. What are you even playing victim for, Dana? What are you even pretending that you care?
You are not who I thought you were.
She's scolding her like a parent. You are not who I thought you were, which is true. What are you doing?
And for a second, I was going to open up and give you a fucking chance. And you continuously break my heart. You break my fucking heart, Dana.
She said I was going to open up and give you a chance, but no. Now, learning about this tattoo, it breaks my heart. And that's the point. I believe her. I think it is breaking Megan's heart.
I don't really know what to do about it.
I feel terrible that something physical happened. I know that didn't need to happen, and I didn't want that to happen. I feel awful, especially knowing for me, it didn't mean anything.
But to me, it's if you love me that much, why did those things happen?
Well, because Pilar made a move when Kyle said no.
I was thinking of you. I know that I was acting.
Wait, is Kyle allowing Pilar to get away with what she did? And she's taking responsibility for a kiss she never wanted? I'm a little confused.
Very selfishly, and I think
That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, and that's what I can't explain because there is no rational reason for it.
I think you need to figure out what the reason is.
I know the reason. It's me not standing up for myself, not wanting to hurt someone.
Because I really don't want to be in a marriage where I feel like you're going to just do whatever to be nice.
And you don't have to worry about that.
It's fine to not be liked by everybody.
I know. I realize that 1000%. I don't need the ego boost. I don't need that. I wasn't asserting myself.
Is she trying to be vulnerable and she can't be? I don't know what's happening.
And I don't want you to have to worry about that. I don't have a wandering eye. I don't need.
Yeah, she's not saying I was interested in Pilar. Bridget feels like, oh, is Kyle interested in Pilar? But Kyle's not interested in Pilar.
validation from other people. Like, you're the only one that I want.
I'm very fragile right now.
I know. I'm sorry.
But then I wonder how Bridget would take it if Kyle was like, yeah, I had it, like, there was a consent violation. It was pretty bad. Would Kyle be like, what the fuck? Like, or sorry, Bridget. Would Bridget be like, what the fuck? Like, we have to go confront Pilar or something? Yeah, I'm concerned that Kyle is holding on to the responsibility that was Pilar's. Do you know what I'm saying?
I look at you as this perfect person. I forget
I don't
that
want you to.
make mistakes too.
I can't live up to that.
Ooh, she said, I look at you like this perfect person. Yeah, probably don't want to do that.
But I'm like learning from my mistakes. I just hope that you like be open to me.
I'm gonna try my best.
I just don't want you to like look at me differently.
You know me, you know I'm super empathetic, and that the second you start crying, I'm gonna like fold. And
I'm not trying. I'm not.
I'm
that
not.
makes it sound
No, I'm
like
not
it's
saying. No,
manipulative or something.
that's not what I meant. I'm trying to say I don't want you to think I'm being callous for not like crumbling. I'm just trying to like also stand up for my own needs.
So you know how I always say there's an emotional conversation, analytical one? This is an emotional one. So when my partner and I are having harder conversations that like are about, you know, maybe it's we're activated, or maybe we always say like, okay, are we going to emotionally or analytically engage? This is emotional. They're in their feelings. They're intimately close. They're touching each other. When we're being analytical, we separate and we sit like almost like we're in an office meeting and we're trying to solve a problem. And this allows us to be, you know, sometimes when you're in your emotions, use charged language that is not helping. And then sometimes when you can be analytical, it allows you to kind of like just observe it. And then sometimes when you do need to be in a more emotional, vulnerable state, sometimes going analytical isn't the answer either. So one's not better than the other. It's just about the context of the situation, which allows you to further the conversation and not get distracted by your emotions or your analytical brain. So here in this situation, I feel like this might be a better conversation analytically than emotionally. It feels like emotionally is getting in the way and clouding things. And I think that if they had done it analytically, Kyle would have said, I was with Pilar. She kissed me. I said no. She kissed me again. So a kiss did happen. And that would have been a very different story than something physical happened. And we're just like, wait, what? And she goes, I'll tell you about it. You know, Pilar and I kissed. It's like that. When you say it in your emotional voice, you're making it sound like you wanted to kiss Pilar, but you didn't want to kiss Pilar from the way the story originally happened. So I think there's a miscommunication happening here because they're in an emotional state. Does that make sense?
I still love you.
You do. You still want to be with me.
And I don't feel like I've ever looked at you differently.
Good. I want you to know that you do know me.
And I really don't want to talk about the past anymore.
Me neither.
Interesting. Bridget said, I don't want to talk about the past anymore. And Kyle said, me neither. Are you running away from the past? Like you do run away from your guys' conflict though? Or are you actually solving it so you don't have to think about the past? Because if you don't solve the problems now, the past will haunt you. You have to solve the problems so you can move into the future without the past glaring back at you.
Just want to focus on us.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, they're too in their emotions. They're not having a real conversation, in my opinion. This is not solving anything.
Of course we were attracted to each other, but we had both agreed that—
Of course. Say that in your choice speech. You guys cuddle?
We cuddled.
Night one?
We did cuddle night one. We decided that if you and Dana were feeling the way that Megan and I were feeling, we felt you guys would have had regret coming out of it if you didn't explore whatever it was that you wanted to do in this experience. I thought that you could potentially be falling in love with Kyle, and I understand, but I did feel like that, and we did decide to cross that line.
I have some thoughts about Haley saying because we thought our partners were engaging in a particular way, we thought it was our right to engage in a particular way. I understand that from Megan's perspective because she had an interaction with Dana at the pool. Let's understand it from Haley's perspective, her thinking Pilar was falling in love with Kyle, though I think that's where the social media post comes into play. So Haley sees the social media post with Pilar putting hearts around Kyle. Haley sees that as like Pilar is moving on. And Haley says, well, if Pilar is going to move on, I'm not going to give up this chance. I'm going to be with Megan. There's a lot of, well, if you're going to do this, I'm going to do this. And this is why I always say, you don't do things because other people are doing things. You should do things because it's right or wrong, because it's a reflection of your values. But if you only do things because other people are doing things, you see how messy it gets?
Was it one time?
It was not one time.
Can I ask how many?
Pilar's asking how many times did they have sex? I don't think it really matters, to me at least. Like, you had sex once, that was enough. Doing it multiple times is just human of you, but like, it doesn't matter. The first time was all it mattered.
Will that help the conversation? I mean, I wasn't like counting every time.
Like, do you have an emotional connection with her?
You know what's interesting is when Pilar was talking to Kyle about cakes, and she said, but there's so many cakes out there. You know, it's interesting how hard this is hitting Pilar, because in the edit, it made Pilar seem like the more curious partner. But maybe that's what made Haley's and Megan's connection so powerful, is they weren't interested in other people. They were secure in their relationships. They wanted to be in their relationships in a way. I know that Dana gave Megan the ultimatum, but honestly, it seemed like Megan did want to be with Dana more than Dana wanted to be with Megan. It felt like Dana just wanted to get married, and Megan wanted to be with Dana, which is different. It feels like Haley wanted to be with Pilar, but Pilar couldn't get there. So it is kind of interesting, I think, the way that it ended up being. Like, even though Megan and Pilar both had problems with their families, I do think Megan really thought she wanted Dana. She just couldn't figure it out with her family. But Pilar was a different story somehow. Interesting.
Do you love her?
Oh, she said, do you love her? And she said, yes. Yeah, but like, what kind of love? Pursue this thing with Megan kind of love? I mean, if they were all polyamorous, then this wouldn't even be that big of a deal. But it's the fact that they're monogamous, and it's very heartbreaking. But also, if you were really monogamous, why would you be on this show? Hear me when I say this. If you are really monogamous, why are you on this show? If you're really with the love of your life, why are you on this show? Do you see when I say who in their healthy mind would ever come on this show? You have to already be in a toxic place in your relationship to sign up for this show. This is why I say you're not with your high compatibility partner. The way we could so avoid so much of this unnecessary pain in our lives if we would just understand that being in this position in of itself is a sign.
I feel I did this.
You did this?
Yeah. Like, what?
No, it's not that Pilar did anything. It's that Haley did something, and that they as a team could never be. They weren't a team. Yes, you were together for 10 years, but you see how longevity doesn't mean health of a relationship. You could be married for 50 years. It doesn't mean you have a good marriage. They were together for 10 years, but like, what does that mean if this is where it ended up?
If I had made you feel seen and heard.
Sure, if you were completely different people, it would have worked out, but you're not. And when you try to force yourself to be someone you're not, it just ends up becoming a mess. Pilar saying, oh, what if I did this and what if I did this? Then you would have been a different person. It's never about the if you would just do. It's always about who you are as a person.
I kept saying my worst fear was that I would get to a point that I was ready and you were falling in love with someone else.
My biggest fear is after 10 years, I would get to the point where I wanted to be with you for real. And this is why I say, like, I'm too old to have a boyfriend and a girlfriend. We're either doing life together or we're not. And I know they dated out of high school into their third. I get it. But still. And I also want to say that it's you can take two really great people and try to make them a couple, and that doesn't mean they're compatible. It's not about being a good person. It's about being a good person who's the right person with a good person who's the right person, right?
And I said that. Now it's happening. Like, what the fuck?
Why is there a pot that's broken on the floor? Is the producers just showing us this broken pot to like make it look like they broke it, or did the wind break it? Like, why are they showing me this shot?
Since we came home, you haven't been able to keep your hands off me.
They're so funny. They're vibing. Yeah. Brittany and Marita didn't do anything, and Marie and AJ didn't do anything, right? They were both emotionally there, but I don't think either of them got even slightly physical, right? So they were both pretty dedicated to their original marriage. Both AJ and Brittany. Yeah, they're funny.
I ain't gonna lie. I really enjoyed someone being home all the time. I'd be working and she'd make me breakfast.
Do you remember the type of woman that I was to you before I started Vitals?
Yes, I do.
What was she like?
You did everything. Dinners, breakfast, lunch, laundry, cleaning. House was always tidy. I know she's still in there.
I'm sorry. Well, do you want her to be a stay-at-home wife? Brittany, do not give up your empire. Brittany is a queen. She bought a house. Her job is going good for her. I know AJ is the more masculine, like, presenting partner or whatever, but like, Brittany's job is the one that bought the house. So what pause? Wait, if Brittany really likes her company and really likes her job and it really is successful, then like, they better not be trying to say like she should be a stay-at-home wife or something. You know what I'm saying?
Thing, what I recently discovered that I liked. I mean, I like a boss woman. I like, you know, everything that you've been doing. I'm never gonna take that away from you because just as much as I know I'm your baby, like Vitalix is your baby too.
Even though AJ is a more masculine presenting character, is Brittany the top and AJ's the bottom, or are they switching? And not that it matters, right? Because you are who you are, and I don't think your relationship needs to be reductive in a sense of like top, bottom, whatever. Because the assumption is the masculine partner is the more toppy person. But I actually think like Megan and Hallie, I think Megan is the bottom. You know what I mean? So I wonder if AJ is like traditionally the bottom in the relationship.
When we came in here, you said you want to achieve certain things for yourself before marrying someone.
Which is the toxic masculinity narrative. We can't get married until I am X successful, toxic masculinity.
And then, I don't know, I just feel like as time went on, you started focusing, you know, less of how you're going to be that so we can get married. More so like Brittany needs to give you more reassurance, and Brittany doesn't have time for you. Yes, I hear your concerns of reassurance and making time for you. So is it really just that?
Ooh.
I think it's both. You loving me is not the question because I know that. I'm scared that you go through highs and lows. You might say, yes, I want marriage now. And then if I were to propose and we're engaged months down the line, if Vitalix isn't doing that well, hey, we're gonna have to hold off on this engagement because there's things I need to take care of.
Why? Wait, why? I don't understand this. My company's not doing well, so we might need to hold off. Why? Because like when you're married, you do things as a team. If you go, your highs are your highs and your lows are your lows, right? But like if like the marriage isn't hard, life is hard. So if the business is going under, as a team, you cheerlead each other out of it because like that's gonna happen. Over our lifetime, our employment will become difficult, right? You could lose your house in a fire. A child could die. Like life will get hard. You can't keep postponing your life because there's moments of difficulty, right? And with the right partner, you wouldn't have to. Hold on, I got this little hair here.
You were putting us on pause by waiting for something that may or may not happen if you wanted to get to a certain point. There's no timeline on that either.
Ooh. True.
That cannot happen. It can happen. Same with business. I mean, just all of these things are just a flow of life. It's
Exactly.
just a risk you should be willing to take. And it's not like I'm asking to get married tomorrow. Like,
but why not? That's the thing is like when you find your high compatibility partner, there's like a difference in how each and every one of us shows affection and commitment to the people in our lives. Everyone has to create a standard for themselves. Like I tell you guys all the time, when I started dating this now married partner, I told him I didn't want to live with them before marriage or engagement because I'd already done that before. It didn't give me any more knowledge about who my partner was living with them. For some people, they feel like living with their partner gives them more knowledge. What more do you need to learn about the situation to commit to this marriage? And that's always the question you have to ask yourself. So it took my partner and I 6 months of getting to know each other before I felt confident. But remember, we're both adults who have had our own lives before meeting each other. We had built over this long span of time all of this knowledge to help us come to a conclusion. And the same way that you would make any other choice in your life, you use previous knowledge to create the now present answer. So what else needs to happen for Brittany and AJ to really decide they're ready to get married? So even when Brittany says like, I'm not asking you to get married tomorrow, why not? And marriage to me just means you're making that legal commitment, that ceremonial commitment to longevity together. It shouldn't feel like a threat or scary. It should feel like the right decision. And I say this as somebody in her last relationship, there was, let's go to the courthouse and get married. And I was like, no, because I don't want to marry the person you are right now. Like, I want to make that abundantly clear. I never, until I met this partner, wanted to marry the person that they were. I always dated for people's potential, which is why I say don't do it if you don't, you know what I mean? So this feels like that. It's like they're waiting around for some potential to happen. Do you want to marry this person as they are? If they never change, is this good enough?
I gave you the ultimatum. I'm not putting everything on you. And, you respond to things for a reason. And I'm trying to be reflective and accountable for who I've also shut up as. And if at the end of this we don't agree, but I'm trying to really see it from your lens.
I appreciate that.
I love you.
Love you too.
Okay, they exchanged I love yous. They're trying to figure it out. Let's see what happens because I am curious. What are they waiting for?
Baby, I feel like we really are at a point where I love you enough to see and hear things differently. I'm talking about kids and just how shit changes.
Having a family, that's a value. That's a core value. That's something that you've always wanted. And I think that you shouldn't change your values for someone else,
Ooh, she said you shouldn't change your values for someone else. I agree. But I do think over time our values naturally change because we change. And as long as they're upgrading in the positive direction, that's good. Your values should never go backwards. You shouldn't be guys, I realized racism was wrong. And then be I've grown. I decided racism is correct again. It's whoa. That's going backwards. You want to go forwards. guys, I realize trans people are just like everybody else. And then it's like, actually, I found out trans people are mentally ill. It's like, no. We don't want to go backwards. We want to go forwards. I am curious, like, is Marie possibly changing her mind on kids, moving forward or moving backwards?
And I should have robbed you of that if that's what you need.
Also, I don't think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think that Mel told Marie that she can't physically have children.
My perspective on family has changed drastically. Family is a construct, and it's about like what you make of it. We have a family already.
Though that is true, I consider my partner and I a family, even though it's just two of us plus Indiana. We are a family. I also don't want Marie to be saying this because she wants to be with Mel. And I think that's what Mel is trying to say. Like, don't just say it because you want to be with me. Because if you just say it because you want to be with me, in 10 years, this will be a fight. In 20 years, this will be a fight.
And it's not like I'm giving up something. There are so many other things in me that feels like I'm being filled. Yeah. There are so many other parts that I would much rather grow into.
I'm suspicious.
Even hearing you say that, it's always like you putting us before you.
That's the question. Are you putting us before you? So yourself, but not at the expense of the relationship, but not at the expense of yourself.
When you should, like, I know you know your worth. I know you know who you are and like the things that you want.
I don't feel like I'm putting myself any less though. I really don't.
I trust you then if that's what you're saying.
I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like I am at all.
I don't know.
If a time comes when I look at you and I say, you know what, I want a kid, then that's a conversation that we can have then.
No! Girls, we cannot be flippy floppy about having kids. You are getting too old to be flippy floppy about having kids. You know, like my partner and I, we've made a decision. No biological children. The only thing we're possibly open to in the far future is maybe sponsorship, adoption, fostering, something like that. But you can't go back and forth on having kids. You got to make a decision. Are we having kids or not having kids? Like, yes, it's because trust me when I say this, you're going to have to make decisions. Like, I know they're girls, so maybe it will matter if they're female or maybe however you want to say it. They can't biologically technically have children, but like, it's going to creep in the back of your mind. Like, you can't just decide like, hey, I've changed my mind. I want kids. Like, no, this isn't see, Marie's lying to herself. This isn't a possible future conversation. Are we having kids? Are we not having kids? If you both in the future somehow miraculously at the same time decide to change your mind, fine. But that's just not the way I would go about doing it, in my opinion. It'd be, you know what I mean? Who did that? Wasn't that, Sofia Vergara and whatever his name is, whatever. They were dating for a long time and she already was in her 50s and had a teenager and he was like, I really want kids and she doesn't want kids, so we're breaking up. It's like, what are you talking about? You're too old to be breaking up because you want to have kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're too old to commit to somebody and then somehow out of nowhere be like, we can't have kids, I'm breaking up with you. Like, at some point you're too old to be like, not knowing yourself well enough to know what you're committing to. You know what I'm saying?
I think eventually you will want that no matter when the time is.
Yes, Mel says, I think you will want that at some point. Exactly.
I think that you need to leave space for the fact that you're not the same person that you were 4 years ago. And honestly, neither was I. Neither am I. No matter what happens years from now, I'm really hoping that you and I will have really good communication by then, that it won't come to a surprise.
Boo. Boo.
Then I won't have to walk on eggshells to even talk about it.
Boo. No, Mel is correct. Marie is definitely, this is bad.
I don't really think there's much more that Marie can do. I think that she's doing everything that I've asked. I think that she's putting in a lot of effort. This definitely has me considering that marriage and kids might not be the worst thing in the world.
Oh, we are so lax in bringing a consciousness into the universe to deal with this administration and the world ahead. Y'all are too casual about kids.
So what are good qualities that you think that you should have in a marriage?
I think that you should love each other every single day, that you should want to share your lives together, every part of it.
What about loyalty, honesty, communication?
Yeah,
any
all
of
that
those?
too.
Okay. Do you see that in me?
Yes, honey.
Like all of them, or am I missing some?
You're missing some.
Like what?
Like showing up.
That's not true. I literally do show up. I don't agree with you on that. Just like today was silly. You were like, I bought you flowers, but like, you know I don't like that type of stuff.
Do you think maybe I wanted you to buy me flowers?
Uh-oh. This is so uncomfortable. So did Marita buy her flowers? Hold on, let me rewind it. Marita bought her flowers so Ashley would get the hint to buy her flowers? Crazy. That's so weird. Guys, come on, please. You gotta know that's weird. Just say, buy me flowers. I like flowers. Or heck, hear me out, buy yourself flowers. This is what I mean. I don't need my partner to buy me flowers. I can buy my own flowers. If you want your partner to make gestures of romance to you, make a list and pin it to the fridge or something.
Do you think it's hard
I don't know, because Bridget didn't require all of that.
Well, it doesn't matter what Bridget required. She's a different person.
It's definitely way easier. I didn't have to think about that stuff. She just appreciated when I would do small things.
I get what you're saying, but to me, it's more like, why can't you do it?
I agree that in some ways it's like, why can't you just do it? But in other ways, I think depending on how your brain works, it could also trigger like almost like a PDA response in a sense, like a why are you forcing me to show you stuff in ways that don't come natural to me in a sense, you know, or don't make sense to me. Like a lot of people, our anniversary just passed by and some people asked if we were going to exchange gifts, but we're not gift people. That doesn't mean we don't enjoy doing things together. It doesn't mean that we don't want to do something special for our anniversary. It just didn't come in the form of like a diamond bracelet or something, or a video game, or buying someone that, you know, it just isn't, it's not a gift exchange. Even for Christmas, we don't do a gift exchange. Now, to be fair, I also was raised, I think both of our parents are similar in that sense. Like my parents didn't exchange gifts. And so it's okay to buy flowers. It's okay to make a gesture, but it's really about the person you're with. So if Ashley cannot show those gestures to Marita, then Marita's right to not want this relationship with Ashley. And at the same time, from Ashley's perspective, she shouldn't have to do it if it doesn't come natural to her to some extent. And this is why I say being in a marriage should be easy. The way you show each other love should be easy, and it should be cohesive. You should be in compatibility with it. Yes, you can make an extra effort. I think in a lot of settling relationships, I think the issue is like in a lot of relationships where you've settled, you have to sit down and have these conversations about showing up for your partner because you've settled, because you were already at a 25% compatibility or a 50% compatibility that you have to try to even get to 100 or get to 99%, that it's an uphill battle versus if you just start off at like 80% and get to 99, it's an easier road, right? So there's something here. I will say, like, from the marriages I've seen that are high compatibility, even if you are having a learning moment because you're young and it's like, well, why should I have to do that if this is happening? Sometimes you have to explain things to people logically for them to understand. I'm 22 years old. You have to show up in your marriage versus somebody who's a little older. And I think Marita is 25 and Ashley is 30. So maybe the age gap is confusing things. It's a fine age gap. It's not the worst age gap, 25 and 30, but maybe, just maybe, Marita heading into her mid-30s and Ashley heading into her 30s, mid-20s, and Ashley heading into her mid-30s is too confusing. Like maybe their age gap is just where it's at in the way that it is that makes it more confusing. Like as an example, Brittany was 27 and able to meet Marita's needs, but she only was able to meet Marita's needs because she wasn't her partner. So she was able to go that extra mile. I think sometimes when we're doing this like social experiment, we have to remember that you're showing up in this relationship probably better than you would in your regular one because you want to look good, because you want to be exceptional for 3 whole weeks instead of 30 whole years. So I think there's something here that we should explore, or they should explore, right?
With Brittany, I didn't have to ask for it. Like she would just be caring and show up and be attentive to me.
I feel like I'm trying and it's like never good enough, which is why I did this exact thing here. And I was like, this is it for me, like marry or move on, because how much more do I need to do to like show you that I love you?
You haven't shown up in terms of the way that I receive love.
All because I didn't go buy you flowers or like a romantic gesture. I've taken you out on dates. You're sitting here just making me out to be like I'm a fucking shit girlfriend, and that's not true at all.
I'm just saying I don't feel completely secure.
All I do is love you. This entire time I've loved you.
This is just not compatible. Like the way they talk, the way they're talking right now, this is just not, you're not compatible.
I literally have fought for you time and time again.
It's not about the flowers. That's the distraction here. It's not about the flowers.
And it's like never good enough. Like this is the biggest issue.
The biggest issue is like how I receive love?
No.
Is that our biggest issue?
I did not just say that. You put words in my mouth over and over again.
Then what's our biggest issue?
Our biggest
issue. Too much?
Seriously, are you gonna keep going? Our biggest issue is this. I think I'm doing one thing, you think you're doing another thing, and like we're both just like not happy.
We're not aligning. That is the biggest issue. You're not on the same page. You don't have the same values. You're not seeing life the same way. You're not a team.
Aligning.
I don't think that's true at all.
Marita, lock in, Marita. It is literally what's happening. Focus.
I think that like you could put in more effort.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Ashley buys her diamond bracelets every week. It won't be enough because they're not compatible. It is not a team effort. Marita thinks it's about the flowers. It's not about the goddamn flowers. It never is about the flowers, guys. It's never, ever about the flowers.
I think that you know that deep down. It feels like we're roommates or friends. It's because we're not doing the romantic stuff.
Yeah, what someone else describes as roommate behavior to another couple is romance. You're not on the same page. You're not aligning. So for Marita to say, oh, I don't think misalignment is the issue. Girl, that is the issue. For somebody dating Ashley, to Ashley's standard, it is romance. Romance doesn't have to be these grand gestures. Romance can be doing the laundry together. Romance can be, Uber Eats on a Friday night. Like, everyone has a different definition of romance.
What is important is I want to know how your experience has been.
I don't know. Like, I think I have a bond with Mel.
I think I have a bond with Mel. It's manipulative language. You got a matching tattoo with her. You had sex with her, allegedly. You're engaging with her in ways that are big, but then you're like flippy-floppy. But I guess she didn't commit to Mel, to be fair, but she playing both of them. So Megan said, I'm willing to work on things with you. At least, for now. Of course, I didn't expect her to really break up with Dana right now. It's very hard, but okay.
This experience, how can you not be bonded to this person? They literally walked through trauma with you.
She said, how can you not bond with people through this experience? You go through trauma together. Yeah, that's the problem with forced intimate settings, is you will convince yourself something profound is happening. Though it can be profound, it doesn't mean it's real. It's like when you take LSD or you do shrooms for the first time and you think, oh my God, I saw God. It was the drugs, homie. Yes, you had a profound experience. Yes, maybe you came out of that trip changing your life, but you didn't see God. It was the drugs.
But here's the thing though, you're off getting matching tattoos with somebody that we said we would get together. So it's like, now we have no sacredness together. Now I feel like anybody can have what I have with you. And that
Really?
Yes, absolutely, Dana. There's a level of consideration that you should have, and you crossed the line multiple times.
Yeah, I think it's worse that they got matching tattoos than Dana having sex with Haley, because that was on the table. Because if I recall, Dana said that we should be open to the experiment, whatever happens, happens, which to me gave permission for them to have sex with other people. And Megan was the one who said things will change if you have sex with Mel. Either way, I do think it was more of a violation in this context, for her to get matching tattoos.
Do you want to tell me about your 3 week?
But if Dana and Mel are lying about having sex together, that's even a bigger violation because they're lying to everybody.
Haley and I hooked up.
Damn, right out the gate. Right out the gate.
Are you serious?
If Dana goes, yeah, well, Mel and I hooked up too. That's what I'm waiting for. But if they didn't hook up, then that would probably be heartbreaking. But I wonder if it's heartbreaking because she never thought Megan would do it, which is understandable from Dana's perspective. At the first episode, you would never think Megan would do it. So I don't know which part is shocking yet.
Wow, do you have some nerve?
I've never met somebody who was so similar to me, and it was just different because I don't normally date people who are like that. But I felt like there was just a really deep connection with Haley. And to be honest, there was also an emotional connection too.
Uh-oh.
And I feel like I developed feelings for Haley too.
Okay, so now both Haley and Megan are on the same page. They've told both their partners, we have hooked up, we've had sex, we've been intimate, and we're connected, and we have feelings for each other. So Megan and Haley have been right out the gate the most transparent, the most communicative, and the most honest so far in my assessment, in my observation.
So it wasn't just sex. I'm in love with Haley.
Cool. She said, I'm in love with Haley. That's difficult to hear. Even for a Dana, who I don't even like that much, that's difficult to hear.
Oh my God. I can't. I literally can't with you right now. How could you fucking do this to me?
How could you fucking do this to me? I think that's a typical response. It's interesting because I think it must feel that way in a sense. But I would ask Dana, how do you think we got here? I think is a bigger question, right? And obviously, again, I think I'm coming from this from a very specific perspective because I think no one's really actually deeply in love, or yes, it's love, but you're not high compatibility in love. So just being on the show is going to make me be a little bit more loosey-goosey with the rights and wrongs, just because it's a different context of the relationship and the way that I'm trying to judge it, right? But I can see why Dana feels why'd you do this to me?
Have you told her that?
Yeah.
Has she told you that? You really feel like that?
I feel
truly in your heart you feel like that? The amount of judgment you passed on me? No wonder you fucking hate me. You've been trying to hate me, so you feel better about your fucking self.
No, that's not what's happening. I don't think that's the right assessment of the situation. Based off what I've seen, based off the edit, I don't think that's the right assessment. I think Dana is being she's misunderstanding.
Because you did exactly what you thought I was gonna do, but you did it.
Well, didn't you? Okay, I swear to God, I might have to go back and relook at those edits, but didn't you?
I thought I was the bad guy.
Well,
oh my God, I'm such a fucking idiot.
See, now she's turning it on Megan and she's spinning the narrative. I still think Dana and Mel are in the wrong. I do. I think it's really toxically wrong. But at the same time, it's interesting that she can spin the narrative and be like, oh my God, Megan, you did the thing you accused me of doing. Yeah, but the reason she did it was a completely different context than the reason you guys did anything. Like, do they not understand the context is literally different though?
You're in love with somebody else. How can you be in love with somebody else? They're everything we've had.
What do you mean? Mel is literally in love with you. Mel confessed her love to you. Mel and you got matching tattoos. What do you mean?
3 weeks with this person. How does that compare? Oh my God, this is not happening. This is not happening.
It's also easier to move out of a relationship that's been bad for years. Like if your relationship has been bad, then it's incredibly easier to move on, except for the person who's in the toxic position. That's the thing that people forget is like, I remember when I was in my toxic relationship era and my ex looked at me and they said like, it's normal to fight in relationships. Like this should be the expectation. I said, this cannot be my life. Like this cannot be the rest of my life. And you start to check out, like you start to find a way out. And then when the opportunity presents itself, it to the toxic person feels like it came out of the blue. But to you, you've been fighting this whole time. Like I remember the very last time I talked to my ex, we were in the middle of a fight. And he was verbally like texting me 100 text messages. And I just looked at it and I was sitting next to my best friend and I was like, and I blocked it. And I was like, that's it. I've had this conversation for the last 5 years, right? Being bombarded, being texted, being cheated on, being everything. And I'm like, no matter what I can do, this person won't get better. And more than that, I have done way too much work and done too much therapy for me to keep going back to this thinking I can live for the potential. And I just remember I blocked and I moved on and I never, that was it. That was the end, girl. Okay. And so that's the point is like, I think when you're the toxic person in the relationship, to you, it will feel like it came out of the blue. Like, I can't believe you abandoned us. I can't believe you're giving up on us. We've been fighting day in and day out. Like, I don't understand how you can keep doing this. And it feels like Dana is the kind of person who says like fighting or doing this is a sign of like love almost. And Megan's like, I'm tired. Are you not tired? You know what I mean? Like Megan's like, I don't get how you thought that was good, especially now that Megan has an idea of what something really good feels like. She's like, wait, have I been settling? Yes. Yes, you have. Now, I'm not saying Haley's her partner. This is very important. I'm not saying Haley is her high compatibility partner. Haley is just the mechanism in which the situation allowed them both to realize there was something else in terms of love and relationship and compatibility. It does not mean that they are each other's high compatibility partner. So that's the other caveat you want to be prepared for. Is they might date after this and realize, oh, you're still not my person. There's a difference between going from one bad relationship to another, which is interesting because Pilar said that to Kyle. Kyle had been in all these bad relationships and then went to Bridget and wanted Bridget because she was her first good relationship. But it's not necessarily like that. Again, guys, it's not like black and white. It's contextual. It's not, oh, you should never go from all toxic relationships to a healthy one and pick that. It sometimes is, hey, just because you're in a bad relationship and now you're a good one doesn't mean it's the relationship. But it can be the relationship, but it doesn't mean it's the relationship. We have to remember that we have to deconstruct the situation even when it's good. Even when you're having an amazing time with somebody, you should deconstruct it. Deconstruction isn't just for bad things. It's also for good things. How did I get here? Why do I feel this way? Why does this feel good? Why do I like it? Who's she calling? Mel?
I need you to get on a flight right now and come down here.
What, Dana's mom? See, she said she doesn't want her relationship with her mom. Her mom's her best friend, but she doesn't want to be like her mom. But the reason your mom is the way she is because she raised you to be codependent.
Right now.
And now she's going to make it all about her. And she's going to say, it was so bad, I had to get my mom to come visit. Why is your mom flying out, bro? Why is your, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe in some situations we'd have our parents come out for sure in an emergency. Is this an emergency? And if it's so bad, why don't you quit the show and go be with your mom? Interesting that you need your mom to come on the show. See how it feels manipulative to me, to Brittany? It just feels manipulative.
No, I can't call somebody. I need you. Please, Mom, I can't breathe. I need you to come down here.
So now her mom's probably saying like, wait, why do you need me to come? And Dana's like, please, Mom, I need you to come.
Please, I'm gonna lose my mind. I need you.
I'm gonna lose my mind. I need you. I don't like it. I don't like it. You know, when I've been in really, really bad situations or my friends have been in bad situations, it's like, hey, dude, I know this is a big ask and I'm sorry, but like, I kind of really need you right now. It's like, yeah, dude, I got you. I'm coming. It's different than I'm going to need you. I'm going crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a tool. She's probably been trained as a kid to ask for affection this way because Dana doesn't ask for help, right? See how, but this is Dana doing it again. So Dana, when she asks for help, basically makes it like bigger than, just like blows it out of proportion just to get a little bit of help. But she's probably been raised that way in her toxic environment.
Now I have nothing to stay here for.
Wait, she said I have nothing to stay here for. I lost my person. Well, then why is your mom flying out to come there? You know what I mean?
It's my person. That's all I was here for. That's all I care about. My heart is shattered.
Yeah, she said my heart is shattered. I don't believe her. I do not believe her heart is shattered. That's the end of this episode. I'd like to hear your thoughts. I am not trying to be unsympathetic or anything. I'm just trying to make sure that we're not falling for people's learned bad behaviors because of their toxic environments in which they use toxicity as a way to shield the fact that like we wouldn't even be in this situation right now if something wasn't wrong initially. You know what I'm saying? So I know it's hard. I know these are real people's lives. I look forward to seeing the next episode and hearing your thoughts on this one. All I want to say is that when we pursue our joy and if we have a healthy relationship with self, it doesn't look like this. And that's what we can learn from these shows. Is healthiness doesn't look like this. With that said, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment in the sections down below, and I will see you for the next one. Bye-bye.